how the Heavenly Father set things up. He set things up how he wanted it set up, but what man did is the same thing what they did with the Tower of Babel. Hey, let's come together and try to build this tower up. He didn't approve of that. Yeah. So he doesn't approve of everybody coming together. A one world government. He doesn't approve of that. He doesn't approve of one world government, everybody coming together, because he said through much knowledge he separated the nations. Okay, what we're saying through spirit is that these people on this sun are the top people upon the earth. Might sound far-fetched because we're on the bottom. Why are we on the bottom? Can somebody please grab Baruch, the 4th chapter? Because it's going to let you know why we're on the bottom. That's why we brought up sports. You can say it's a white guy, but it comes down to your heritage. It comes down to your lineage. Just because a guy is white doesn't mean they're not an Israelite. That's what we're going to say. That's why we ask you, who are you on your father's side? Because you say Irish, it's like, okay, well, you know, he possibly
could be. There's a temple in Ethiopia, and those people are more into knowledge of the Holy Bible than most people in the world, because they have the chapter system and everyone else.
But listen,
and they believe that the Ark of the Covenant would be stored there.
But listen, they can have all of the knowledge in the Bible. It only counts if they're an Israelite, is what we're trying to say. I'm not trying to,
well,
you know.
I don't believe that that's the way it works.
I got you. Hey, I got Baruch. Hey, check this Baruch 4. We're going to let the scripture start.
Yeah, you start at 1.
Hey, Khan, this says, this is the book of the commandments of Yahweh and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to light.
Yeah, all they that keep it shall come to light. This is why the earth is dying. This is why people constantly dying, because nobody really trying to uphold the ways of the Bible. Okay?
But such as leave it shall die.
Simple as that.
Turn thee, O Jacob.
O Jacob, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. Remember, Jacob's name was changed to what? Israel. Those the 12 tribes.
And take hold of it, walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated.
The light is this knowledge, the knowledge of the Bible, the truth of the Bible. That's why it tells you in John 3:16. Everybody stop at 16. They don't read 17, 18, and 19.
Exactly. Explain why they said that, and it goes on.
So it goes down why they don't want to come to the light, because they don't want their dark ways to be corrected.
That's right.
That's what's wrong with the world. They feel like the darkness that they're living their life in is life. That's what's wrong with the world. There's a higher power that's going to correct all of that. 1 second, let I read this, I'll let you.
And it says, give not thy honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto a strange nation.
Which is this knowledge and understanding. A strange nation is anybody that's not on this sign. Japanese, Chinese, Caucasian, so on and so forth. All right? But we're not talking about color. We're talking about space. We're talking about the spirit. All right?
O Israel, happy are we, for the things that are pleasing to God are made known unto us.
So if it's made known unto us, how can anybody please the Heavenly Father? We teach them. They can read that, because we're coming into our kingdom, which is going to be coming pretty soon. And we just read in Isaiah the 2nd chapter that the nations are going to come to the mountain of the Father to learn his ways. The same ways that he gave us, made a covenant with, we're going to teach the other nations. All right, so go ahead.
Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel. Ye are, it says, check this out. This is, hey man, this is a key part. You got to listen to this. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction.
Not for your destruction. We were sold to the nations. Who did we serve? We served the Egyptians. We served the Romans. We served the Greeks. The book of Judges, we served almost every nation upon the planet. And then down to the Romans, and then coming down to the 1620s. We all know what happened in the 1620s, the transatlantic slave trade down to where we at now. Right. So we was not sold in captivity for our destruction.
And it says ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved because you moved God to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies.
Why? How did we move him to wrath? Because the ways that he gave us, we went away from. We turned our back on those ways. We started serving other gods, Molech and Baal, all of these different gods. We're not Muslims. Stop talking about covenant.
Oh, I know, but you just put up a sign and pointed to it that said white man on it. So you
look, go put that sign up.
Yeah,
we'll let you see it. Look.
I know, and I'm
Right
saying
here, bam.
There
Right
are
here.
also, but
Right
you
here.
you don't have any people of any other color. You're specifically calling out one color for their crimes.
It's not about color. We keep telling you that.
No, it's not.
No, here's another one. Here. Since that one was the one you didn't want to see. Look at Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson, you know that?
Well,
He didn't kill him.
I absolutely
Look at this. This ain't no black. These ain't black people on it. This is
Black
a atrocity.
The
Listen,
Blackfeet were
the Native Americans
genocide
suffered the same. Look, you're not.
Why not?
This is what we're telling you because the people that are on that sign, right
They
there.
have the same color villain though.
Look,
It's
because
not.
they're the villain.
They are the villain.
They're the villain.
What about the Paiute Nation?
What are you talking about?
And took the weapons from the U.S. and
What are you talking about? If the okay, you go. That's like going to a movie. That's like going to a movie, and you know you've seen the movie 1,000 times. You know that there's a good person and there's a bad person, correct? That's how it makes a movie. You got it's called the heavy. The heavy is the villain of the movie. We did not put these together. We didn't take these pictures. We were on the opposite. Listen, we were on the opposite ends of these. If atrocity is atrocity. If you go and somebody comes right now and robs us, and the police ask us for a description of the.
Why are you only showing atrocities upon race?
These are Negroes.
No, I'm saying
Look, but is
the
that,
people committing
is
the
that the same
atrocities
race?
are the same race.
It's the same
They're
villain.
people of other races. Like, look at Pol Pot. He committed genocide. He was Cambodian. Like,
Listen what we're saying. We're telling you,
I believe
we're
there's
telling
one
you,
race.
hey
I
man,
believe
we're
there's
telling you the
human
prophecies of that because we're telling you the prophecy of that crime. The crime that happened to these people.
I know. Some of those crimes were also committed by Indians against Indians.
We're not okay. That's okay. We're telling you what was prophesied to come. We're tying in because these people were prophesied. That's how this is the breadcrumb to lead these people to who they are. The atrocities that would happen to them, they were able to pinpoint and say, damn, we swung on trees. The Native Americans' land was stolen. These are the things we're telling you happened to them that also happened to us.
Yeah, we all live under the same sun and moon.
But you're saying the villain. Back to what I was saying. If somebody comes and robs right now, and the police come and ask us a description of the assailant, and we give them, he was wearing this shirt, he had this color on, that is the villain. They committed the crime. So what are we not to point out who committed the crime?
Oh no, go ahead. But I'd rather you not discriminate with just one race.
Was this not a discrimination? Was this not a discrimination?
Well,
Yes or no? Was this not a yes or no?
crimes against humanity.
Was it not a discrimination though?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Racial crimes terrible.
This is the villain who did it. We're telling you that, hey God, the guy that did it, he was this color, he was this race, he was this nation of people. What are you talking about?
You have another villain.
No, we have all the villains because the brother said we weren't under slavery under all nations. You're only looking at this time frame.
No, can you name me a villain that isn't white?
What are you talking about? The so-called Asians, because he told you earlier, the nations that you see today are named different in the Bible, correct? They're not. I'll give you an example. Where you call the nation of Iran. Iran is not Iranian.
That was Persia.
Okay.
So we're telling you now. Understand this. The Israelites have been under slavery under different nations that were named their biblical identity. We're only giving you the current identity of who has us in possession now. We have been under slavery and bondage under every nation. Who was the Israelites not fighting the Philistines? Yes or no? Yes or no? Did they not fight a nation called the Philistines?
They did, but that's just a war.
That was one. Did they not fight? Now let me ask you this: did they not fight the Ammonites? Yes or no? That's not that we didn't hit two nations now.
I know, but you're still focusing on one specific race.
I just gave you multiple nations.
This is who
We just gave you multiple different nations. The Philistines are different people
You
than
named some other races on it.
we're
he said where we're at
now.
currently.
We're at now. We're not.
Currently.
We are not under the Philistines. We're not under the. Okay, let's get another one. Were they not? Was the Israelites not under a nation called the Egyptians?
The Egyptians, like what?
Pharaoh, let my people go.
You wanna
Moses.
deal with time.
Yes,
If you go
right?
back in time, you don't want to deal with time.
Can we get this? Go ahead. Go ahead. No, let this
Hold
come
on,
out. Let this
hold
come
on,
out.
wait.
Let this come out.
This is Psalms 83:1.
Listen closely.
Keep not thou silent, O God.
Listen
Hold
closely.
not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
Not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies
Thy enemies
make a tumult.
A tumult is a loud noise, a cry of war. Listen now.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Come on now, give me, what does it say?
Yeah, it says they have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
Against thy people.
He told you who the inheritance was, and consulted against thy hidden one.
Keep going now, listen to this part.
They have said,
they come on, let the Bible tell you. They have said what?
They have said, come and let us cut them off for being a nation.
Let us erase Israel's name, right? And it's going to give you a list. Keep going.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, but they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
Confederate means that they're together. What is a modern confederacy? The UN, NATO, those are confederate nations, right?
How many of us?
And who of us sit on the NATO seat?
United Nations.
It's a prayer to the light burner that Lucifer.
Let's get this. Watch this. Watch this. We're going to show you that because you said the only reason that we're at this point is because we showed you a sign.
Partially by something called the Lucius.
We showed you a sign that had this name on there, white man, and you caught in your feelings. Now this is going to tell you now let the Bible tell you the list of people. Go ahead.
Now it says this.
Listen. Other color.
We're gonna give you the other colors right now. Listen. Here we go.
It says the tabernacles of Edom.
Who's the Edomites? You don't know. Keep going. Now that's one nation. That's one. Keep going.
And the Ishmaelites.
Who are the Edomites then?
How many times have you read the Bible?
Who are the Edomites?
Who are the Edomites?
That's the white
I read
a few of them.
But I prefer to read the Apocrypha.
We have them. We have them.
I got the 1611 version if you want to get into there. Look, we was just reading out of Baruch. That's in the Apocrypha. That's in the Apocrypha, Baruch.
But they want.
Listen, man.
Look, he said the Apocrypha, right? What is that? What is that? That is a what? And sir, you see tape on it, right? How many times, he asked me how many times have I read the Bible. You see tape on there, sir. You got to read a book for it to be worn like that, right? Now, who are the Edomites? Now, let's ask you, who are the Edomites?
That's the person who eats little bitty bugs.
look, I knew he was going to say, who are the Edomites?
Maybe it's beans.
Who are the Edomites, man? Stop playing.
Go to the next
Do
one.
you know who the Edomites are?
Do you know?
No, you don't know.
Can I ask you guys?
Don't you?
Yeah, as soon as you answer this one, do you know who the nation of Esau is, or the Edomites?
I would have to look into it further. I've read about it.
Okay, you don't know. Okay, now let's let this finish because that was one nation,
Ask your question.
and then you can go in. Now keep going.
And the Ishmaelites.
Who are the Ishmaelites?
Ishmaelites, the sons of Ishmael. It's like I can't go through like the whole thing.
Okay.
That's
It's
respectable.
something I haven't read in a long time since I stopped being a Christian because I have a moral objection to the faith.
Okay, that's on you. But listen to this. Check this out.
All right. Now, of Moab.
Watch out that camera right there.
There's lessons kind of like
Of Moab.
At Moab.
people to be violent to each other.
Of
Of Moab, right? Keep going.
And the Hagarenes.
The Hagarenes.
Of Gabal. And Hank. And
No,
and
I literally am being
hold
called by my
on,
God.
and Ammon.
All right, he got a skirt.
No.
And Amalek.
He got a skirt.
Wait, I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
you can
yeah.
start something else.
Yeah.
You don't have the tribe of Dan listed. So
Because Dan, you know the story of Dan?
I've only made it to the beginning of Numbers, so I don't know the Old Testament as well as you probably.
Okay, yeah, the tribe of Dan was what you call, they were done away with, okay? We don't know who the tribe of Dan is today, okay? But we know that the vibration is going off of 12. So that's why the 12 tribes of Israel are on the sign now, currently. Okay, when we go into the tribe of Dan, that's one of those the true where they're at today, but we know that they are Israelites. But the tribe and the vibration that the Lord is going is the 12 tribes.
Okay, so my understanding is 12 includes Dan, but then you have Ephraim and Manasseh kind of in the same because they both come from Joseph.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Blessing.
Exactly, yeah. Because he switched his hands.
Yeah.
When he was blessing them, he switched their hands, okay? So because they're a greater, how you say, they were going to be more exalted, okay? Because the head tribe is Judah, and then you have the head tribe is Ephraim. Okay, when you had the split between Jeroboam and Rehoboam, you had the head, which is the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, stay in the land, and then you had the northern tribes go, and that's where you had the split of the captivities. The Assyrian captivity was the northern tribe, which you call Ephraim all down. All right, and what did Ephraim do? He made priests of all of the lower of the nations. So they pretty much went off. And how did they actually get them? Was the bull, the calf. You see what I'm saying? They set up the calf, the little calf going back to Egypt. Because remember when Moses came back down off of the hill, what were they worshiping? The calf. That goes back into Molech. Okay, that's the god of Molech. So when these tribes were split, the tribe of Ephraim was taken into the northern captivity, and they went into the Assyrian captivity with Shalmaneser. All right, and then you had Judah that went into their captivity. So that's where you get the split of the tribes. So now in the land of America, all these tribes are together now again. Okay, now I got the precept.
I got
go ahead,
I got one.
Yeah, go ahead, get them out for him, bro.
What's special about, why is Dan lost to history? Why don't we know who the descendants of Dan are? Well, we know that all these other ones are very specific groups that we know today.
The tribe of Dan is one of when you have them, they've been assimilated. Through the Spirit, we're saying that they've been assimilated into these other tribes.
Okay.
Okay, that's because if you go back to the
you're not referring to a particular story.
No, there's not.
Okay.
We can go. We'll read about Dan, but if you got a precept, I'm gonna pull it up for you right now.
This is Hosea chapter 1 verse 9. Then said God, call his name Lo Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. Verse 10, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. And that's predominantly dealing with the Negroes, Latinos, and the Native Americans, men as a whole, not them separating us and making us minorities. It says, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. So this is that place. This is the place where we lost our heritage. The natives were speaking Hebrew when the conquistadors and them came over here. They were speaking Hebrew. That's why they brought Hebrew interpreter. That's why they found Hebrew some of their words like fire, ash. That's a Hebrew word. All right. So when this is that place, because they were went under slavery, they stole the Native American lands, made themselves $5 Indians, so on and so forth. And we are where we at now, but we have this knowledge that has come back to us. This is the place where it said, there shall ye be called the sons of the living power, because that's what Israel means. The Hebrew word Yashar'Allah, meaning he, shows the prince, power of prince, to a king and his son. So we are the sons of the living God.
And I don't even have a problem with it, but I believe the New Testament, in Jesus, there's no separation between Jew and Gentile. Like the whole world is suddenly equal, and our physical descendants doesn't matter anymore.
Because the Jew and the Gentile are Israelites.
The Gentile is, as far as I understand, by definition, all the ones outside of the Israelites, even the Samaritans who accepted the first 5 books of the Bible.
I got you. Let me read this to you. This will answer your question. Very good question. This is 1 Corinthians 12 and verse 2. That's why we're here. We're not like workshop pastors. Don't answer questions. That's what we want to defend. This is the book of 1 Corinthians 12 and verse 2. It says, I'm going to read it in the NLT so you can understand it.
I can understand it.
Okay, but we'll read that.
I preference the ESV, but I like KJV.
Hey, we'll get KJV because that's our roots. It says, ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away. Let me go to verse 1. This is Romans 12 and verse 1. It says, now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
Now the heathen, they've always worshipped idols. Okay? Now it says, ye know that ye were Gentiles. So the people that he's talking about are no longer Gentiles.
Agreed, because they're grafted in by faith in Jesus Christ.
Okay, but we're going to get into it. Go ahead.
Now, they were Gentiles. A heathen cannot, all right, now a heathen can no longer be a heathen. A heathen will always be a heathen. So, Paul, he's speaking to Israelites that were in the Gentile state of mind. They were following the Greek customs.
That goes back into, if you read the Apocrypha, where you get Antiochus. So what did Antiochus, they go, he got specific. No, I like that.
You mean the king that prophesied about in Daniel?
Where you go into the Seleucus line, where you get
the
Alexander,
abomination of
make it desolate.
Yes.
So where he made it what? He made it illegal for them to be called the Jew. He made it. They said all the people are supposed to give up all of their things, all of their gods, and become one people. That's that New World Order. Okay, if you want to, that was the ancient version of it. Then what you have, fast forward, you even have Israelites that were sewing their foreskins back on. So they could pretend, because if they caught you circumcising your children, that was punishable by death. So they were pretty much, it was made illegal for them to practice their faith. So they had to, now, if first generation, they might have knew a little bit something. Second generation, they don't know nothing, because mom and dad are scared, first of all, because if they teach their children that, they go to a school or go around, supposing the inhabitants of that area, that could risk them, their lives, and the child's life also. So their children was not raised in the mindset of Israelites and the culture. So they didn't know about the laws, circumcision, the things that separated the Israelites from the other nations. That's what the word holy means. Holy means separate, right? So now, going back, fast forward 2-3 generations, they were Hellenized. That's where you get Helen and Hellenista. The difference between Hellenistic was those that practiced the law. They knew of it, but it was one of those that they kept it under wraps. Hellenista, that means they had zero knowledge of it. That means that goes back into Timothy. Timothy's father was what? What was Timothy's father?
I don't know Timothy.
Okay,
I just started reading the Bible last year.
No. Timothy's father was what you call in a Hellenistic state of mind. So Timothy was called out of that, and he became, and he believed. That's the same thing you have now. So we have a coming back of who we are. That's why we're saying we were Gentiles. Just like now, if I go back into a foreign country and I wasn't born there, or my family may have roots there, but I haven't been there. I don't know the language. I don't know the food. I don't know the culture. I'm a stranger to that land. Does that make sense? I don't even know the food, I don't know where to go, I'm a stranger completely. So that's what these people were coming back. That's why the Messiah says, I have those that are not of this flock. Keep going, you got a precept?
Because it says, they were strange to the commonwealth.
The commonwealth of
right?
Israel. That's
So,
right.
All right. So if you were, all right, so if your family was in a foreign land, right, and you went, you were strange to the commonwealth, right?
Yep, that's right. And then this right here, this is
That commonwealth, come on that definition, it says citizenship.
And it says, this is a little excerpt. It says Hellenism is the term generally used by historians. So like, I just had a little ad pop up. It says by historians to refer to the period of the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BCE, the death of Cleopatra and the incorporation of the Egyptian into the Roman Empire in 30 BCE. Egypt was the last important survivor of the political system. So it's breaking it down and telling you by a systematic time, these people lost who they were and became Gentiles.
Hellenization means Greek.
Exactly. So what happened was in the time of the Romans, that's why you had Paul. What was Paul doing? Paul was an anointed vessel because he was able to speak that, and he was a Roman citizen. You see what I'm saying? So what Paul was doing, he was writing letters to Israelites that were living in those lands. And he was saying, guess what? This man named Jesus, he came back and he reconciled you to us. That means you're coming back. You've been inducted back into the commonwealth. What does it say? The animosity is over. That's what he was telling them. Hey, come back. And how do you come back? Come back through the law. Come back, circumcise yourself. There was an issue with that. They called that the council, the elder council, when they were having this skirmish about circumcision, because some of them were uncircumcised, going back to the hedonistic custom. But he said, no, don't worry about the circumcision. Get the Lord first.
So you guys don't believe that there's a new covenant with Jesus Christ?
The new covenant, it's like this. The new covenant is, you know what refurbished means, right?
Sure.
Okay, so if you refurbish a car, is it a brand new car?
No.
What is that? All you did was make that older car newer. Correct? That means even some people like classic cars. What will they do? They'll take a car from the 70s and they'll get everything on it. The exact doorknobs, the exact seats, the exact interior, the exact wheels. What are they doing? They're refurbishing, they're bringing that car back to life. So that covenant is just the refurbishment of the old covenant. Yeah. That's why you go back to
if somebody said to me a new car, I would not think that to be a refurbished car. I would think it to be something that has just been produced, that hasn't been driven. If you sell me a new car, I'm the first one behind the wheel.
I got something for you. The new moon. Is that a brand new moon? That
It can be used in both ways.
I'm just saying.
But
I won't answer that one.
But I think the way the Bible uses it is it's a brand new covenant.
But why would God? But if you have something called a new moon, why would God's not like us to change? He says in the scriptures that He's not a man that He should lie or change. If He's not,
God doesn't change, but His relationship to us
How?
All throughout the Old Testament, he gradually revealed himself. When he talked to Moses in Exodus, he gave him a name that he had never given to his people.
No, they had
to
it.
his people before.
They had it. They had the name. The name was just, that's why, because his name before that was called Alashaja. What, you know what the word Alashaja means? It means demon-like power. Okay? Because they knew that there was a force that was doing certain things, but they didn't know what to call him. That's why when Moses said, what should I say? He says, tell them I am that I am. Okay? That's what he was saying, because that name was not known. He said, this is the name you're gonna call me by. They knew him. There were what is it called? Nicknames. Okay, but I got a quick precept for you, and then get this. Because this will back up exactly what we're saying. We're not telling you something that God is doing. He's also told the prophets, this is Amos 3 and verse 2. It says, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. Now let's go to the NLT, so we can get the when they simplify it. And it says, NLT, from among all the families on the earth, I have been intimate with you alone. That is why I must punish you for all your sins. Fast forward in a time where we put that sign up, where you see the slavery, you see the displacement. That is the part of our punishment which was given under what? The first covenant. That's why we went on slavery. That's why we went in ships. The Deuteronomy tells you that we shall be taken into Egypt again by way of ships. So that punishment now is our breadcrumbs. So when we wake up, God says, guess what? Those punishments are only going to be on his people, so we can find ourselves to say, damn, this fits this fits that. And we know to wake up coming back to our inheritance. Go ahead, bro. You got that precept?
It's always hard reading Hebrew.
The book of Hebrews, New Testament?
Yeah, because I'm just saying, like, as far as just bringing a lot together, chapter 8, 9, 10, and 11 is just, and 7, actually. So I'm going to just try to start it here. This is Hebrews 8 and 6. It says, but now hath the, I'm going to go up to 5.
You got to get all that meat on there.
That's what I'm saying.
You got to get the meat. But the followers will definitely answer the question. Go ahead.
Hebrews 8 and 5, it says, who served unto the example and shadow of heavenly things, as Moses was admonished of God when he was about to make the tabernacle. For say he, and thou make all things according to the pattern showed to thee in the mount. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant.
A better covenant. So what is it saying? It's not saying that, oh yeah, everybody now, because going back to the time, because the Philistines, remember the time in the Ark of the Covenant, when the Philistines took the Ark, guess what? That the Lord plagued them until they returned the Ark back to the Israelites. In the time, the perfect example is this, I always bring it out, Moses. When the Lord sent Moses, when he gave him the name, why did he say, tell your people to change their ways and come up? What did Moses tell Pharaoh? Let my what go? Let come on, we can't look over these things. Those are important.
You already said
You already know, because it's a very known story. He said, let my people go. And what was the place? He said, what did he tell Moses? He said, I've heard the cry of my people in Egypt. He knew that we were going through slavery. He knew we were being oppressed, bricks, through all those. So he said, you know what? Moses, I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart. I'm going to show my power in them. I'm going to jack them up. And then this God that people want to say, oh, love me, what was the last plague? He killed their firstborn, including the animals. So that's a God that said, look, for my people, I will kill for them. Not for you, I'm going to make you an example. I'm not, because if he was able to harden their heart, wasn't he able to soften it? He was able, why didn't he soften their heart and make Pharaoh say, you know what, we are all now one people under this God of the Israelites. You know, what did he tell Moses? He said, man, tell your God to pray for me, man. When he left out of there, he said, man, tell your God, because the Egyptians had their own gods. The book of Psalms saying that the gods are idols. The Most High didn't come to everybody, but he goes back to the promise of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He called Abraham what? His friend.
God says, read that part again. By how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises.
Yeah, because God would not, if he entered into a contract, he's not a liar. He said, I promise you. For him to include other people and he not fulfill the promise to the original promiser, that would make God a liar. Because he didn't fulfill the promise that he said. He said that your seed will be as the stars of heaven, for multitude. So he has the promise that he only gave.
At the end of Exodus, he says it's conditional on, remember, if you follow me, then one of you, what was it, 10 of you can chase out.
I'm gonna tell you. Let's go to the book of Acts, the 5th chapter, and the 29th verse.
Check this out.
It says, then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God rather than men. The God of our fathers raised up Jesus, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree.
That's why he was here, because that fulfilled a lot of the sacrificial lamb. Because the Lord was that's what
You guys don't celebrate Easter.
no, actually we just came off of for real. Yeah, we just came off the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You know Easter's not one day. Do you know that there's a 7-day process you have that you don't eat meat?
But yes, I remember that.
That's
from
keeping
Exodus.
that's
But
keeping
we don't claim that Easter is the same as
it is Passover. There is no Easter.
We don't claim that it's the same.
Easter is Passover.
We claim that it's if anything a foreshadow.
No, because to celebrate Passover, you have to celebrate the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
To us, every Sunday is basically Easter. That's why we worship on Sunday and not Saturday.
You know where that goes back to? That goes back into Saturn worship. That goes back into it's a pagan. That goes back to the Council of Nicaea when they were molding the paganistic worship with the Bible, because Constantine was trying to please because it was called the Holy Roman Empire. That before that it was the pagan Roman Empire, because the what you call the Israelites came into power. So what Constantine did was he married their customs with the customs of the Bible. It was the land. It was a political boy. It wasn't staying it wasn't keeping his nose to the grind of this Bible. That's why you had the casting away. It has what we're doing. The brother read to you. This is a refurbishing of that covenant, and he's making it known to us. But to get to that new covenant, we must needed the Messiah, because there had to be a blood contract. Pretty much it had to be signed in blood. And he was the one to sign that new contract. The first one was signed with what? It says it was written on stone, to symbolic of our stony hearts. That means it wasn't able to be tangible. Now, what is he going to do in the changing of the body? Go ahead, bro.
This is Hebrews 9 and 15. It says, and for this cause he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that
of the transgressions going into, because if we transgress what? The law. Now we transgress Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. We ate of that bread. We ate of those curses. We ate of the punishments. Now we're in that contract, but what's happening now is we're being put out of that contract through the sacrifice of the Messiah. Now we're the ones that need a savior. If you look at it, the Negro, Latino, Native American are the ones that need a savior. We haven't been paid back for slavery. We're still under the punishments. We get shot down by the police that we pay taxes to. We're not all criminals. We all don't sell crack. You see what I'm saying? But guess what? We're being put at the last bit because we're still under that first covenant, which is under the law of punishment. Just like you said, if you didn't do what you're supposed to, you would be punished. We still are being punished. Now the Messiah has given us an exit, but we're waiting for that refurbishment. Because what a part of the new covenant we don't have now? The new bodies. That's why it says in the twinkling of an eye, thou shalt be changed.
The new covenant is going to be written where at?
In your heart.
Exactly.
So those are the promises that it's talking about.
Yeah, it's not a new, brand new covenant. Okay, we're going to take out the sacrificial law or this or that, which that was taken out just to the Lord, but it's going to be written in our inward parts, so where you're not going to think about committing adultery or murdering anybody or eating any swine or, things of that nature. It's going to be first instinct. I ain't going to say, it's going to be a thing. It's going to be, it's just like you wake up and do what you do here in America. That's going to be the way we're going to carry ourselves. It's not written down because at one time it was oral. That's how Cain and Abel, they knew what sacrifice to give or not to give in Cain's sense. Then it was written down upon the tables here. Bam, okay, y'all can read it. These tablets, we got the Ark of the Covenant. It's here, it's tangible. Dang, that didn't work either. Okay, so with this new covenant, I'm going to write in your inward parts, in your heart, where you're going to keep it. Because when you look into the Hebrew word of heart, it goes into lav, which is your mind. That's right. Which is your spirit, who you are. So that's the new covenant. It's the same covenant. It's just going to be written within us instead of us having to read it out of a book or read it upon a tablet or a script or a scroll.
That's why it says when he comes, we're going to be like him. Because when he came and he rose up, when he told the Father it is finished, that body that went into the sepulcher, that body was raised up what? Incorruptible. He was more powerful than he was before before he went into that sepulcher, because guess what? He put on those new garments. That's why it says when he appears, we shall be like him. That means we're going to put on the immortality. That means these people on the sign, we're already the most powerful people on the planet Earth. When it comes to physical inventions, you go into the things that we've done. But this is in our cursed state. So what is going to happen is that the Lord is going to reinvigorate us by giving us the new body so we don't sin no more. That means we will not break the law anymore. Ergo, we're going to have the breath of life enter into us. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put the earth in order under that very law.
You don't believe that God has made salvation available to all people?
No,
Who
who
will
say that? No,
Can I finish this?
And one question, if that is true, who is it going to judge when he comes back?
because
Going to judge those that reject Jesus Christ.
Who rejected him though?
Right.
Who rejected him? Because he didn't come. If you read Matthew's the 10th chapter, he says, "Go not into the ways of the Gentiles. Enter into any city of the Samaritans. Enter ye not."
Y'all can come through. Y'all can come through.
So go ahead, read that.
Yeah. So this is
And then we'll explain it. Go
This is
ahead.
back in Acts chapter 5. It said, then the God of our fathers raised up Jesus, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree. Him hath God exalted with his right hand to be a prince and a savior, for to give repentance to Israel and forgiveness of sins. Everybody can repent. Everybody's sins can be forgiven. Everybody can receive salvation. And that's just what that is. Even people of this nation, there's 2/3 of this people that won't make it for sure.
It's going to be cut off from God.
Going to the book of Zechariah, because the Lord means what he says. This is just how he set it up. It might not be fair. It might not seem right. But who are we to counsel against the Lord?
That's right.
You know? Can we get Romans chapter 9 real quick?
Gotcha.
So we're saying that refurbishing of that contract is being given to these people because that was the one that was made. God is not, he's not a man that he should lie. He fulfilled the side of his bargain. That's why he said that I will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. That's why Solomon was the wisest king. That's why David slew the other nations. David was a man after the Most High's own heart, correct? That David was a beloved man. David was known for what? He wasn't known for just playing the harp. David got busy. He was a warrior.
So much of a warrior, he wasn't allowed to build the temple.
He had so much blood on his hands.
Okay, so all these New Testament epistles, like Paul wrote to the Romans, the Corinthians, Thessalonians, spread out Israelites. None of the people he was writing to were Greek.
I'm going to give you my prime example. Me, I was born in the land mass of Africa. These brothers, I would be a Canaan. Just like you see men that were named, they had another nation after their name. You had
Uriah
the Hittite. Uriah, but he was, why did they call him Uriah the Hittite? Because he was from the land of the Hittites. Just like I was from another land, but guess what? You wouldn't know if I didn't tell you. I moved just like the nations you were. Those men and those people have a certain spirit that others don't have. Give you a prime example. When you see,
But then you say spirit, that's different than physical.
no, I'm talking about the spirit is that the DNA. Okay, when you get the DNA, if I put my seed into a white woman and that my baby, my son comes out, he's gonna have the traits like me. If I can run fast, just like Blake Griffin, right? If you look in the sports world, we're going back to the side of
You
physics.
should watch more modern. Blake Griffin's been out of the game.
No, I get what I'm saying, but no, some of those guys you see that are coming in there that looking like other nations, they have the same traits. It's the same energy. It's a vibration. Those people were spread in those lands. They were the exiles of Israelites that were being written to say, hey, come back to who you are. Okay, you were Gentiles, just like I read to you earlier. We were being called
So
Gentiles.
that church, the Roman church that Paul writes to, doesn't everyone has some, like was descended from the Israelites?
Let me tell you this.
There's nobody that was grafted in from the surrounding. That was a native.
Just
Roman.
like today, this is Roman architecture, correct?
It's classic architecture.
Classic from where?
Roman.
Greece, Rome.
Thank
yeah.
you. Okay. Are we not in America today? How were we brought here? We were brought by what? Slavery. Correct? We didn't have a choice. We raised ourselves up. Our parents taught us how to be American. We were raised under the school system. We know Roman numerals. We speak fluent English. We weren't born in the land of Israel. You're looking at a modern day Gentiles.
If you know Roman numerals, you know more than what the average white
Of
person.
course, yeah, I know Roman numerals. But I'm giving you an example of what you would call modern day Gentiles. We were not in the land of Israel. We don't know how to speak fluent Hebrew. We know how to speak some Hebrew, paleo, but we are in our enemy's land. We didn't know who he was. So imagine if Paul wrote to us, we would be the same thing as you see what you're reading about. We are Negroes, but guess what? We would be called Americans. We're not called Israelites. We're not called Israeli. We're born there. We have no nativity there. We can't get on a plane and go there and get no land, right? Correct? So we are strangers to that. So what you're looking at today is the same thing that was happening back then, but instead of YouTube and internet, we're getting our identity back. We say, you know what? We believe in this Messiah. We've never seen the Messiah, but we believe on the way these books and the scriptures that were being given to them were being broken down.
Now, I know you've seen Negroes in Greek fraternities, right?
I've never been a part of a
Like
Greek
Alpha
fraternity,
Tau.
but I would take
But-
it that they don't discriminate these
But
days.
okay, but Negroes that's in Greek fraternities and sororities were the same ones that were following Greek customs even back then.
They just inducted it. They didn't know better. So that's why Paul was going out and telling them, hey, what is that when he went to the where he said the inscription of the unknown God?
Yeah.
They had I think that was
Aaron
in
Vegas,
I forget where he was.
I mean,
it says Athens when he went to those that were they
Areopagus.
Areopagus,
Yeah.
perfect. So what was happening was those were Israelites that were just in that form of fashion, and he came and said that inscription to the unknown God.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you who he is. This is who he is.
I believe that those were Greek pagans, and he was actually bold enough to
Now,
believe that the
listen to
gospel
this,
was
though.
for the
Listen to this,
whole
though.
world.
Okay,
everybody.
let's let these scriptures get
This
in there.
is James 1:1.
Check
James,
this out.
a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, right? To the 12, it says, to the 12 tribes which were scattered abroad, greetings. And so the Israelites were scattered.
I agree that James.
Hold on.
Let him
James
finish.
is
Let him
one
finish.
of them.
Let him
Hold on.
finish.
I agree.
So Paul was writing to, he was writing to the Ephesians, the Romans, the Corinthians, the Thessalonians were Israelites that were scattered.
Yep. If you read the time where the cloven tongues fell on the men, it says what? Jews that were Jews. You got it? Go ahead, bro. Salah. Watch it. This is the precept, because that's how we're explaining this. We're saying because it says here a little and there a little, precept upon precept, line upon line. If we weren't able to do this, then what we're saying would be false. But these passages, they'll give you one thing. John 3:16, close the book. But we went through how many precepts that are saying and mirroring the same thing. Check this out.
Acts chapter 2, verse 6. Now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in their own language.
See? Because they were from different parts of that empire.
Oh, Salaki, I gotta read 5.
Salah, go ahead.
This is verse
This is going to
5.
set the tone for that.
Acts 2 and 5. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. They were scattered.
They didn't even know how to speak. That's why the miracle was a miracle, because they weren't even speaking Hebrew. Why were they even there? Because in the law, it says that your males must come up to Jerusalem 3 times a year. So those were those Hellenistic people that knew that they knew of the law, but they weren't proficient at it. They knew to come up because hey, my grandfather told me I'm supposed to come up. This is my people. They came up in the lands that they were scattered in, but they came under the law because that's why they were there. Read it.
Verse 6. Now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language.
See, so if you were from Greek, you were from this part, you were from the land of Canaan, you were coming up, you were traveling, and then you came there, and all of a sudden the tongues come up and you can understand everybody in their own language. So those weren't the people of those other nations being grafted in, those were Israelites that were in those lands that knew that they were Jews, they knew that they were Israelites. Keep going.
And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? Why? Because Galileans would be like the hood people, so to speak.
Exactly.
You know? And how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born?
See, where they were what?
Where we were born.
They were in the land of Israel now, but they were born in those other lands. So that made them of those other stocks. So fast forward today, because the Bible doesn't change. Even you go into the time of the Israelites in the ancient world, we were warned with other nations, the Philistines, the Haggard. When the Lord told us to go into the land of Canaan, he said, kill everyone. Don't save nobody. Why would God go from that drastic judgment to now, you know what, let them all come in?
We came out of Egypt, we took over the Hamite kings, Og and Sihon, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, to the point where the other nations were hearing, when we sent the spies to the spy out the land, and Rahab was there, she like, oh, I heard about y'all God. He did this, split the sea, y'all took down the kings. So that's how it was. But I do want to get this, because it said, wherein they were born Parthians and Medes and Elamites and the dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea and Cappadocia and Pontus and Asia, Phrygia, Pamphylia, Egypt, and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene.
Now we can put and extrapolate why Paul was writing those letters there, because this predate Paul. So now Paul was writing to them and saying, look, y'all are from here, you from here, but guess what? You're Israelites. Come back to the Commonwealth. Come back to who you are. That's why if you read Revelations, where it says that the 144,000, they're of the 12 tribes of Israel. And it's the stock.
And that don't include no one else but the 12 tribes of Israel.
Yep. And where most people get they bump their toe at, because they think when we're telling you this that, oh, it's a supremacy. No. I can't tell you your favorite food, can I? You gonna like what you gonna like, right? Can I tell you your favorite water drink or your favorite fruit? You got a taste for it, right? I can't tell you your favorite meal. I can't do that. So how are we to tell God his favorite meal? These are the people that he has a taste for. These are his choices. This is his favorite. We can't argue with you, but what we're saying is when we come back into power, once we're put up as God's people, the earth will be blessed. If you read the chapter, it says the earth was created for our sakes. You see what today, Abraham, it says, he told Abraham, all that you see, I'm going to give to you. I'm going to give to you. The same thing we're giving now is because the Lord said, he that he loveth, he chastised. What happened to us is he loved us so much. It's like if you got a child. I don't know if y'all got kids. If you see your child playing with a loaded gun, how are you going to take that gun away from him? Are you going to say, my child, put the pistol down? No, you're going to be like, hey, you might kick him in his damn chest. Yeah. Or you might be violent with him. Man, get this out of your hand. This is a fucking weapon. Don't play with this. You're going to yell at him. You're going to hey, don't do this. It's loaded. He was putting it to his damn face and pointing it around. He almost killed himself. Sin is a loaded fucking gun. So what the Lord did, he beat us in a way that we can know, don't fuck with sin. I'm going to put your enemies over you. Why do you see other nations that aren't strong as us? They aren't built like us. That's why the world idolizes us. And we're the slaves. People want to sag their pants and listen to the music we produce. Blues came out of our pain. Jazz came out of those are the fruits of our pain, man. That's when people eat it up. This is good. That came from people being oppressed, being stolen from their people, being beaten. This is not a light thing. The people you see on the sign, that's where we're not afraid to say it because we need help, man. We're not including these nations, man. Every one of our great kings slew the other nations, and the Lord was with it. There would be times where the Most High would send angels themselves to kill our enemies, man. That same God is a God that only saved 8 people. But you now want to induct him as, oh, he loves everybody. My man, I don't know what God you're reading of, but that's 2 different mannerisms, man. Go ahead, bro.
This is 2nd Ezra 3 and 30. 31, it says, I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they then of Babylon better than they of Zion? Or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel? Or what?
One more time. Baba Kishar, run that back. Yeah, that was it was sweet wine dropping from the vine, man.
2nd Ezra 3 and 31.
Listen close, this is what they telling you.
I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they then of Babylon better than they of Zion? Or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel? Or what generation has so believed thy covenants as Jacob?
As what? Jacob, Israelites. Now we're going to give you an example. The Lord has allowed the world to have the so-called freedom that you're talking about. People don't even know who we are. Who has the book? The so-called white man prints the book. Cambridge is the authors and the grand czars over the Bible. The land of Palestine is being inhabited by the so-called Jews, right? What, do they keep the law? Are they following God? Do they not have Pink City? Do they not have transgenderism? Do we not have the rape, rob, and the murder of people's money and pillaging the rich get richer? This is the opportunity. God has given the so-called world that you're saying everybody come in and be grafted in. This is their opportunity. What have they done with it? Look at the world that we're in today. Is it a righteous world? Ask yourself. I'm asking you a true question. Is it in what we're living to under the guise and standard of the Bible?
No, and that's not promised in the Bible. Like God allows everyone to come in, but the world doesn't reconcile them.
So if these people went off and broke the law, is not the law being broken today?
Oh yeah, the law of God, yes, broken on every corner of the city every day.
So now what you're saying, that chance that you're saying that being inducted and grafted in is here. You're living in that chance.
Yes.
And that chance is being squabbled away.
Just like in the God chose a small nation of Israel from all the other nations. It's just like that today. There's a small group of people who are faithful to God. It's not a matter of who they're descended from. It's a matter of their faith in Jesus.
And you're right, and it says that in Romans 11th chapter. That's where it's speaking about them being grafted in. How can you be grafted back into something you was never a part of?
That's right. And
That's the mystery.
And if you know how grafting works, if you go and you chop, what do? You chop a branch off and you tie it to it. It has to be of the same species. You see what I'm saying? You can't graft something in. And just like men are likened unto nature. Because nature is what we're a part of. We're not separate from it. We look at it like we're not. So a lion, you don't see a lion sleeping with a gazelle. It's almost impossible. Their mate won't germinate. The sperm won't germinate, okay? Nature told you that. These people are likened unto the lions of the nations. You have koalas, you have giraffes. Other nations is what I'm calling you, okay? The Lord's saying that's why the Lord's animalistic sign, he said he's known as the lion of the tribe of Judah, okay? So he's correlating, just like the Lord was speaking parables. Parables were sayings and metaphors so you could understand what God was telling you in a way that you could look at nature. The lion is the king of the jungle. The lion is not the biggest. The lion is not the fastest. The lion is not the strongest. But the lion is the head of the animalistic world. By what? By design. So what we're telling you is you're trying to say that these gazelles can come and dwell with lions. It's not work. It won't work. Nature won't work. So we, as ourselves, have shown the world it's not gonna click. There's a separation. We're not the same as these other nations. The Lord made us the lions of the man, if you want to say that much. And how do we show that? By our physical prowess, by our talents that we give out, by our blessings that we give. If you read Deuteronomy the 28th chapter, it tells you that He shall set us on high above all nations, man.
Now, when we were in the Persian captivity, right?
Yup.
Now, the king, he gave us a permission to rebuild the temple, right? Now, he that came up and was wanting to build with us. He said, what? You cannot build with us, but we will build this temple to our God. Now, let me get this. Proverbs 5:15. Drink waters out of thy own cistern, and running waters out of thy own well. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of waters in the streets.
Come on.
Let them be only thine own, and not strangers with thee. So this is only for us, only for the Israelites. That's it. No one else is invited.
Okay, I appreciate you guys talking to me, answering all my questions. I just have one more question for you. Do you guys have a term that you refer to yourselves as? In the mainstream, I think it says Black Hebrew Israelite.
No, we're not black.
You have,
We're not, because that's what you call a CIA buzzword.
Brown.
okay.
Because what it is that they're trying to, because I let out earlier, I told you got to look up icons. Russia has let out their vote of icons. Now these icons are from the Byzantine Empire, or the what they call the Dark Ages.
The icons that they kiss.
Yeah, the icons. So what they call it the Dark Ages because they say it was lack of a way, or it was no understanding. We ruled in that time. We've fallen down over a systematic time. So this is the lowest that we've been. We ruled, even in the Roman Empire, there was Negroes that came up into power. Constantine was an Israelite, but he was calling himself what you call a Roman. Okay,
so I take it you guys just call yourself Israel.
Israelite, because no, you can have somebody as white as him. Because guess what? If you trace his line back, guess where his father is? His great granddaddy is as black as me. So we're not because that's a buzzword. They want to put us as a racial motivated group. They want to lump us in there with Black Panthers. They want to lump us in there with hate group. We're not a hate group, we're a love group. We're telling these people on this sign that the Heavenly Father loves you no matter how you look, because I said this earlier, go to nature, because this is nature telling you. Certain animals have a defensive, certain animals have fangs, certain animals have poison to protect themselves or to attack. There's also animals that use disguise. They use camouflage. Like this, their outer exterior looks just like that, all to keep them safe. So what the Lord has done with his people, so if we all look the same and we were all had the same color, it'd be easy to spot us out and easy to take us out, okay? Because we know that the world likes to mass kill. Certain people will mass kill people, okay? What we're saying is that these people will come looking like every single nation. Prime example, this is something we push, Bruce Lee. We believe that Bruce Lee was not a supposed, he would be of our people. Just, I know it's a far-fetched one, but look at his spirit. You know who his first student was after he left out of his country? It was a black man. He took a black man under his wing, and his own nation, what is this called, banished him for teaching the martial arts to another nation. But what we're telling you is that we're not black Hebrew Israelites, we're Israelites. This is by a sperm, this is by a seed, this is by a promise. It's a spirit thing. I don't care how you look. I can't even, the Bible even tells us we're not even supposed to judge you accordingly, because I don't know who you are. But what I am going to do is I'm going to give you the truth wholeheartedly and tell you it's not a fact of everybody coming in. It's a fact of where your bloodline is, wherever it leads. Because the angels know every single person and who they are. That's why the angels are going to separate. That's why you get the tares and the wheat. The Lord said that he's going to make the angels separate the Israelites from the other nations. That right there proves the angel, because if it was all together, the Lord would say, just grab us all together and throw us in the kingdom. No, he said he's going to separate the bloodline from the bloodlines. It's just like the species from the species. We are a species of people known as the Israelites. The other nations are different species, man, that the Lord isn't dealing with.
Thank you for your time. Godspeed.
Hey, I got something to say. A wise man once said, what happened yesterday? Nothing. What happens tomorrow? Nothing. It all happens now. The eternal now, from the beginningless beginning to the endless end. So I hear you guys reading from that there. Myself, after I got back from Vietnam, my lady was African American, and when people would call her black, she'd go, "This is black, this is brown." She hated to be called black. She said, "This is black, this is brown." I always thought that was cool. She had a 19-day-old baby, and we were together until I came to Columbia. We've been about 3 years. But you know, in Vietnam, I spent 2 years in Vietnam. I said, "You know, Vietnam, no man went to high school." And then here after that, I went to old Mexico and I'm Espanol también. Asian community of Cambodians. And I worked for a fellow that hired a bunch of Cambodians, and I got around them and killed me with this Akamai died.
Where's your father from?
Well, my heritage is French and Irish. I'm French and Irish.
On your daddy's side, your father's side?
My mother's side is Irish. My dad's side is French. Yeah.
Okay, well, we can't say no or yes, but we can only go by a person's spirit.
Now, so the thing I use every day, have you ever heard of the Desiderata? It was written by a man in the 1940s. Max Berlman. He wrote the Desiderata. And it's a tag for these to be desired. But the Desiderata is something that I've memorized. And it goes, "Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexatious to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs. The world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many people strive for high.